Boker Tov, we're continuing Masechet Megila, Perek Aleph, Mishna Vav. So we mentioned this concept called En Ben. There's no difference between, we said, Rosh Chodesh, Adar, Rishon, and Adar Sheni, except for, etc., or Shabbat and Yom Kippur, except for. So now, in this list, En Ben Hamudar Hana'a Mechavero, Lamudar Mimenu Ma'achal, Ela, etc. So here is the laws as follows. We know that there's a concept of nedarim and shvuot. A person makes a neder. If a person makes a neder, let's say that I'm never going to eat meat again. I promise. I swear I'm never going to eat meat again. Let's just say. So that now he's taking something that's allowed for him. He's made it asur, and if he violates, he's violating a Torah prohibition of listening to the oaths that you said. And if you want to eat meat, you got to go to do hataran nedarim. You got to go to Tachacham, and he'll find you a petach, and you'll see that, like, I didn't really intend, I didn't really realize, etc. So there's ways to get, but you got to get out of it. So let's say a person's so upset at his friend, and he says, I never want you to benefit from me anymore, any way possible. I don't want you to benefit from me any way possible ever. That's one type of oath, let's say. And you could make an oath like that. And another oath is, let's say a guy says, this person always eats at his house. And he says, I don't want you to ever benefit from ever eating from my house, from anything that I belong, anything that I possess. I don't want you eating from me anymore. So there's two oaths. So the Mishna says these are very, very similar. The only difference is, Ela drisat regel, the kelim she'en osim b'hem ochel nefesh. The only difference is, two differences. Drisat regel, walking on a person's property. So, the guy that you said, I don't want you to benefit from me at all, he cannot walk even on my property. He's benefiting, he's walking on my property. The one that said, don't eat from me, walking on my property is okay. You're not eating. The second is, let's say, the friend comes and says, do me a favor, can I borrow a pot, please? I need to cook some food. Can I borrow a pot? So, in that case, where you promise, I don't want you to benefit from me at all, the answer is no. But if he says, don't even eat from me, the answer is yes. Unless, let's say, the pot, lending a pot in the country or city that you live in, people even rent pots. So now what you're doing essentially is when you're giving it to him for free, he's benefiting. He has money left in his pocket now. He doesn't have to rent it. That money that you made him save, technically he could go buy food with. So that's benefiting even of food. So in that case, you're not allowed to lend him. So meaning anything, any benefit, that's why it's only these two things that's different. Because you said, okay, you can do whatever you want except for eat from me. You might think that you can do whatever you want, but the answer is no. Because if you do something for him that he's going to be able to benefit financially from it or save money, he can use that money to now buy food, and that's in violation of your oath. So the only two differences is walking on his property or lending him something which people don't charge to lend. The Mishnah has another case. En ben nedarim le nedavot. We often interchange these words when a person donates to the Torah. We say nedarim, you give a promise, or mitnadev, shu mitnadev, he's donating. What's the difference between a promise and a donation? So this is primarily with regard to korbanot, but it's also connected to other donations. So the Mishnah says, Ela shehan nedarim chayav b'acharayutan, unedavot eno chayav b'acharayutan. Nedarim, you have to replace it. Nedava, you don't have to replace it. So in korbanot, it would go as follows. Let's say a person makes a neder, a promise to give a korban. The way he would say it is, Hare alai korban. I make a neder to bring a korban. I make a promise to bring a sacrifice. So even if I, let's say, have in mind this cow in my flock, and the cow dies, because I said I have to give a korban, it doesn't matter that died, I have to replace it, I have to bring another one. But let's say I have a cow in my flock, and I say, this I'm donating to the Bet HaMikdash as a korban. And now it dies, that's it, it died. What can I do? I don't have to replace it. Because I said, this one I have to give to the Bet HaMikdash. So if it dies, I don't have to replace it. So that's the difference between promise and a donation. So could be, if a person, let's say, has cash, So for instance, I promise I'm going to give $500 to the shul. Even though I intend this cash, but the cash gets lost, I still have to give the $500. But if I say, I'm giving this to the shul, and that money gets lost, then, okay, what can you do? There's the concept of ones, and I said I'm going to give this. This is now non-existent. I don't have to give it anymore. This was actually a practical question where, a little story, when I first got married, I got married in June. In November, I was living in Israel in November. In short, it was a Friday night. I ate at my brother-in-law's house. I came back home at midnight, my wife and I. We opened the door of our house. We lived in the bottom of a basement of a house, of a villa in Israel. We opened the door, and all the lights are on, all the shelves are out. Someone robbed us. It was a very difficult, traumatic experience. Welcome to Israel. So part of what they stole, we ended up moving after that, etc. Part of what they stole, it was November, so I just was in Los Angeles for Sukkot, and my father-in-law gave me $3,000 of tzedakah to give to someone for tzedakah. So now, and they stole it. And the question was, does that got to be replaced or not? So it was a discussion based on this. Was it, I promise I'm giving 3,000 to tzedakah, or this is for tzedakah? This is gone, you don't have to replace it. And that was the ruling, that was how the case fell in that case. But this was for tzedakah, I collected this, he collected from his kahal, this was for tzedakah, and it got lost, it got stolen. I'm not sure, maybe on my own, my father-in-law replaced it or whatever, but he told me you don't have to, the halacha is we don't have to replace, based on the details of the case. But based on this, was it a nedava or a neder? Okay, that's that for today's Mishnah. Bezrat Hashem will continue on Sunday. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen ve'amen. Rabbi Chananya ben Akashia Omer Ratzak Kadosh Baruch Hu lizakot et Yisrael lefichach irba lem Torah mitzvah shene'emar Adonai chafetz leman tzidko הגדיל תורה וידיר